This is ridiculous. Hi everyone and welcome to Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations. Please subscribe to our channel, watch the entire video, watch our other videos, and of course click on notifications to be first to learn about new videos. I'm Chris Capredoni, and in this how-to video, I will leather wrap a parking brake hand lever handle and take you along for the entire process. After leather wrapping the manual shift knob in a previous video, I decided to continue on with the leather customization. I will continue the red leather theme with white thread to create continuity in the interior. I found a great piece of leather online and gathered the basic tools and supplies needed to do the job. Let's get started. So in order to leather wrap my parking brake hand lever handle, you'll notice that it's full of curves and shapes that really a ruler or even a micrometer won't really work on. So the next best choice is to get yourself a piece of string and start measuring all of the different sorts of angles and lengths, like this way, holding it from tip to tip and then measuring what the length is, the same on the bottom, as well as the different various circumferences all the way down, because there is a wider circumference near the center of the handle and then it tapers off again. So that's what I'm going to be doing, is taking measurements from every possible conceivable way, recording them, and then building up a flat template of what the piece of leather should look like. After taking as many measurements as possible using the string, I mapped it all out and created this flat template of what the piece of leather needs to be in order to fit around the handbrake lever handle. So what I did was I created a paper template, cut it out, and then I got a piece of old material and traced it out on that. And the reason I did that was, since this is flexible, I can curve it around the actual handbrake lever and just test fit to make sure that I'm in the ballpark with respect to the measurements. I know I may have to do some minor trimming here and there, but from what I can tell so far, this is the template that I need to use in order to cut the leather. So the next step for me will be to trace the template on the red piece of leather and then cut it out. So I use my paper pattern to trace out the design on the leather, and I've cut it out. Use a high quality pair of scissors that's nice and sharp. The next step for me now is to start doing some initial sewing here before I move to the vehicle to start sewing it onto the handle. So I'm going to get set up with my white thread and the two needles that I need in order to start doing that preliminary sewing. In order to ensure that my hole spacing was consistent, I decided to make a paper template to map out 4mm spacing between each hole. In my opinion, anything smaller or larger just does not look aesthetically pleasing. Next, I took a quality pen and mapped out the hole distances around the leather piece. Make sure not to make the holes too close to the outer edge, as they may rip when you start applying pressure when you tighten the thread. So the first step in sewing this piece of leather to go around the parking brake hand lever handle is to sew the top part where the release button is. I need a smaller circumference. So what I did with my template was I cut V's along the outer edge, and what you can see here is I'm sewing them together so that the diameter becomes tighter. So I'm going to start the next one here and show you what I'm doing. So I do it from the back this time because I want to be able to tie a knot on the inside so that no one sees it. And I do a double loop. Bring it together. So that they all come together to make a tighter circumference. Now the next step for me to do will be to cut the needles off and then tie a double knot. And then I'm going to be using a lighter to melt the ends of the thread so they don't fray or that then the knot comes loose. And that's the next one. So I'll just continue on with these last two, and then I'll start prepping the holes along the side to wrap around the shaft of the handle. I just completed the front part of this leather wrap for the parking brake handle, and I had to increase the number of V cuts that I originally had planned because I wasn't getting the curvature I needed. So I had to pretty much double them. So you can see there's like a stitch every couple of millimeters right around the entire circumference. So now I have the shape that I want for the front. Now the next step is for me to start prepping the holes along the long side so that I can wrap it around the shaft of the handle. So that will be the next step in preparing this. So I came into the car and slipped on the leather covering for the handbrake handle, and I started doing the sewing. I wanted to do a little bit of the stitching so you can see what the corset stitch looks like. It's a crisscross pattern. So what I'm going to do is just keep continuing on until I reach the bottom, and it already fits snugly in the area where it's been sewn, so I know it won't slip off. But that's basically what it looks like. So I'm just going to continue on with the stitching all the way down to the bottom. Finally reached the bottom. You can see I did the corset stitch all the way to the bottom. Now the next step for me is to cut the needles off and then tie a fine knot at the bottom and then flame it so that the thread doesn't fray or de-thread itself under use. But almost at the finish line here. So that's it. It's complete. Corset stitch all the way from the top to the bottom. It's very snug, feels good. It matches the leather work that I did on the manual shift knob. So I'll have to find another application for this red leather to continue on with the customization. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Thanks everyone for watching this informative DIY tutorial on how to create a leather parking brake handle lever cover to customize your vehicle's interior. All that is required are simple tools, a quality piece of leather, and a couple hours of your time to complete the process. This process can be used for manual shift knobs, automatic transmission handles, parking brake handles, steering wheels, or even door handles. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and select the notification option. Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations.